So social media and OTT is a big monster. And what we mean by OTT is, as the word suggests, over-the-top media. So that could anything be included as Netflix or your Disney Hotstar, your your Amazon Prime videos. So all of that is also now a part of the same social media status. We have lots of. You can't even control what your children are watching these days. So I guess that kind of factors in very well in what we're going to discuss. Now, what is happening with social media? Quite frankly, we all have gone through what our children must be doing at the moment. Sometimes we parents are not aware of what's happening tomorrow, whether we are clued on with, the new terminology of social media. The first one obviously being FOMO, and I'm sure most of you have heard your children speak or your friends speak at some point. FOMO is fear of missing out. It is when you realize, the world is on social media. Are you there, or are you a part of their world? Do you know what they're eating? Do you know what they're wearing? Do you know where they're going? What does the house of a superstar looks like, or what movie are they doing next, or whether what I'm going to do for the next of my day. So that is when people consider themselves a fear of missing out, and that is big. That really is, and that doesn't just stem from social media. Some people naturally have FOMO. They want to know. They're intrigued. People sometimes don't mind their business, and that can harm them and harm the people who they're actually questioning. So how do you kind of create a balance, or kind of step yourself away from knowing too much? Because knowing too much can sometimes be not very advantageous for your own mental well-being. And with social media, it's very important to cut some time out just to kind of be with yourself, so that you do not disconnect with the real you. The second one, and I don't want to scare the parents here, is harassment. And why just parents? Actually, a lot of parents also go through this. And harassment cannot just only be in terms of sexual, or cannot just be in pornographic media, but also in terms of cyberbullying, trolling. What happened last weekend when, I don't know if, I'm sure you're all aware, when UK lost Italy with football, there was massive trolling, racial discrimination to people who could have been their heroes in, within 5 seconds of missing out on their penalties. But, they went down the drain. People do not give, a lot when they're writing on social media. There is no filter. And sometimes freedom of speech can be misconstrued with social media. There are people who are self-declared journalists, self-declared bloggers, and not realizing what they could be writing and the effect that it may have on people can be very detrimental at times. Third could actually social currency. Now that when you saw in the video, how much a like or how much a good comment could be uplifting for a person. Yes, we all look for people giving us a good time, people, showering us with compliments. We all look for it. I look for it, definitely. Even on social media, I do. There are lots of times when I'm pretty sure 99% of us, whenever we've got ready and we look good, we know we look good, or the lighting is great, there has to be a picture taken, not just for your memory, mind you, but for social media, so that you can put it up. People can tell you how how you're looking, whether they can compliment on what you're wearing, that sort of thing. And that is what makes people rich right now. It's not the money in your bank balance. It's the money. It's how many likes and how many how popular you are on social media, how many followers you have. That's the word. Something also is called real versus real. Now, you see, all four of these are very interconnected. Fear of missing out kind of brings out the real, the kind of life you want to portray on media, on the screen. But what may be happening behind the screen could be very different. I could be carrying the most expensive bag, but have nothing in my bank account. I could be, portraying myself as a very successful entrepreneur, but actually maybe going through a lot in my personal life. I could be very children rich in terms of have lovely children, etc., but may not be having a good relationship with my husband. So there's always a miss. Now, the point here is we need to realize all lives are not happy on social media. Everybody is not thin. Everybody is not on keto. Everybody is not, going to the best of universities or are very, are traveling all the time. I have actually seen posts when people have taken close-ups of their pictures, showing as if they're on a plane, but they're not. They're actually just sitting behind a wallpaper. So it's just how you are, you're building up your followers. There's actually a blog, and when I was researching for my, for this presentation, I saw how people have written out, what can you do on Instagram to increase your followers? You can show yourself you're traveling. You can make yourself as a blogger, look like a blogger. So, things are umpteen here, and you just need to realize this is not real. This life can only, lead you to a very different path. And that's not where we are headed. We should not be headed, literally. I mean, we've spoken about this. So there's social anxiety people have when you're fear of missing out, when you're missing a possible connection at an event or an opportunity. And, sometimes people just kind of take it on face value. And that is, we really need to figure it out, not just for ourselves, for our family, for our children, so that they realize that this is not the be all and the end all. It really isn't. What is happening in your life and in your family is what is real. So sort that out first, and social media can automatically be sorted out. We have also discussed this, we're never happy knowing what is happening behind closed doors, like I said. So it's always good to, understand what a fake reality would be. I also went through harassment, and these are a few types of what can be, what could be termed as harassment: gossiping, threats, low privacy, racial discrimination. We said that, cyberbullying, which is very prevalent as well. And the fourth one was obviously social currency, and how you can massage your ego, with social media. That is what is termed as currency here. So, and they kind of arise from all sort of, it can arise from Twitter, also from LinkedIn sometimes, Facebook definitely, Instagram, yes. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming in the next few years. I mean, that's where the world is. The question now we want to ask ourselves are just a few I have put out, as in, and be very true to yourself. You don't have to really put it in the chat or for me to know. Just ask yourself, and maybe you can ask your family, how many times have you actually deleted a post if it hadn't garnered so many likes that you wanted? Or do you check Facebook and Twitter, Instagram around 20 times a day? Actually, now an iPhone actually tells you at the end of every week what your screen time was and how much percentage of the time you have spent on a networking site or on your emails or something. It actually gives you a very nice analytics. So having that on you activated gives you a big reality picture. On every Monday morning, I get my screen time and I know what I did the week before. How many of us have at least once during this presentation or since we've started seen your Instagram or checked on your phone? I did that literally 1 minute before, just to kind of see if everything's okay. Has anyone messaged me? Does anyone want a link, etc.? That sort of thing. And how many of you arrived early to an event and you find yourself you're alone in public and then you pull your phone out as if that's your friend? No, that's not your friend. Use your people skills. We are all humans. We are social. Go speak to the person next to you. Establish a connection. These are networking opportunities. You may be standing with somebody who can help you tomorrow in life, And I realized that when I got married and I moved, and I realized the importance of networking, because I was going into a shell. I did not know anybody. I came from a completely different background to something very new, to a different country, spoke a different language. I didn't understand the accent. So I started going into a shell. But it's so important to reach out, to put your hand forward and say, look, I'm here. I want to talk. And, there's always a good for connection for your own personal self, and today I do have a network of my own, apart from what my husband, his friends and his wife, etc. I do know a lot more people beyond that. And that really goes out to how much effort you want to put in stepping away from your comfort zone, from your social media zone, and be like, this is the person who I am. And it's always good to have a nice emotional one-to-one connect personal chat. Ask yourself if you've ever done all of this. Do you also feel lost and incomplete if you step out of the house without the phone? we do sometimes, since our phone numbers are there, we don't know our closest friends' phone numbers today because everything's on the phone. So how can you kind of curb yourself and say today, I'm going out for dinner, I don't really need the phone. If there's an emergency, I will be contacted some way or the other. To feel that disconnect is important for your own mental well-being, to have a good time for yourself, not for your photo album, not for people who are around you, but for yourself. The effects, I do have Tarunaji speaking, Dr. Kaushal speaking after me, but just to give you a nutshell, people get addicted. Now, when I speak for people, I don't particularly speak just for students or just for people who are below 25, but also for parents. And since you're all here, I know there are a lot of people back in my hometown or even here, especially, people who are like in their 50s and 60s, but trying to act 20, 30 because it's an addiction. They like being looking like that. And that really, doesn't give out much about themselves. Your productivity definitely lessens the productivity. If you are not feeling good about yourself, how are you supposed to feel good about your work? And that can also be detrimental to your career, to how you think, to the person that you were or you are. Irregular sleep patterns. You may be feeling very sleepy, but you have this last urge to check on one notification that may have come up, and that causes another irregular sleep pattern. You see, all of this is again connected. There's addiction, then there's irregular sleeping pattern, and there's low on productivity, and then there's depression and anxiety. So that all these effects are very, it can come, one after the other, and you wouldn't even realize when you've reached the depression point, and then, you're seeking help. Now, how can we help? How can we as mentors, as educators, as teachers in the college, or, even as government, what can we do to help people who seek help, who want to be helped? It's how you can tame social media. I call it taming of the social media. And, it's difficult to ignore it, but have conversations from a very young age. Communicate with them. Communicate with people who you think are, getting addicted to the phone. Not in a detrimental way, but it's always good to kind of keep examples like that. Probably make them come to webinars of these such, or give them articles to read, just to kind of help them disconnect. The communication is very important, and a good communication is the key here. Look out for signs. When you see you're on the dinner table and somebody is constantly on the phone and just taking pictures of what their coffee would look like, those are signs we're looking at, okay? They may be very early on. They may be very trivial when you're talking right now, but if you see that constantly happening on every meal, every single day, that's where I think help needs to be intervened. Use the social media to your advantage. It is also a boon sometimes. I mean, help use it to promote your business. No business can be done today without help of social media, really. I mean, especially after the pandemic, when everything went online, what was the marketing force for you? It was the social media, how, you kind of put your product out for people to see. So instead of using it to your disadvantage, my point here is to use it to your advantage, and then how it can really help you succeed in life. Educate yourself. Not just about what social media can help you with, but also educate yourself about what the youngsters are doing. If there is be with them, and only then can they respond to you. Most of the time, the youngsters are feeling, oh, why do we need to speak to our parents about it? They're already 20 years ahead of us, the next generation, blah, blah, blah. But no, I mean, we're all together in this. The family can only help their family. And you want your children to be with you, to understand where you're coming from, and to realize that what you're saying is actually the right thing. And then you'll be able to move ahead with time. There will come a time when, you mature yourself up and say, look, social media doesn't bother me anymore. And it could be a monster, but I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy in the bubble that I've created for myself. And that's what moving ahead of time means. Do not feel scared reaching out for help, please. I've been an educator here, and mental well-being and mental health is such an important topic in the school curriculum. And I would really like that, colleges like St. Bede's who have the resources, who can actually, since we're talking about it here, it's always good to have a department where children can actually go and seek help. Parents can come and seek help. There is there is no shame. Why should there be a taboo? You can talk about your heart, you can talk about your bones. Why can't we talk about the mind and the brain? That's also a part of the body. And your own emotions. You just need to kind of say, look, I am struggling with this and I think this could be a problem. Is anyone who can talk to me? Yes, there'll be umpteen number of people talking to you. You just have to take the first step. Look up to people who are doing this. Just don't put them down. Really, please don't. If you can help them, you can seek help as well. And, just be with them. And that's very important. Just, a few things of making these changes in your own, in your own homes, stop using the phone and computer after a certain hour. You log out of work. Between 5 and 6 should be your downtime. Why should you have to log back again at 9 and 10? We lose out on family time. I've lost out on family time so much. And I know my husband does. I mean, there's so many times he wouldn't even log out before 12 midnight. So, but why? What for? I mean, when you go from this world, what are you taking with you? Yeah. What knowledge? Nothing. At least you're able to give back those memories for your family to cherish. And, that's what really counts at the end of it. Have regular conversations with your children, with your adults. Leave your phone somewhere else. Sometimes your phone shouldn't be sticking to your heart. It really doesn't need to be. Don't use the phone as an alarm clock, because when that happens, you inevitably go towards a social media site to check what's been happening. Be more productive. Right? Just watching something on, YouTube or something on Facebook isn't really the thing. Take up, if you're a painter, bring a pen, colors, pen out, paints out. If you're a writer, again, take a notebook, take a pen, take a paper out, start writing. If you're a nature trek person, go out, do what you need to do, but go without your phone. It just doesn't, that thing doesn't need to be sticking to you. You can also talk about your own, less positive experiences online. Today I've had mental health issues after I had my child. I also had mental when I lost my father. I mean, I think I'm still struggling with that. And there is no shame in saying this, but I didn't want to reach out to people at the time, but I think there comes a time when you actually need to reach out. You want people around you. You want people to, see that vulnerable side of you. If you're crying, cry. It's okay. It's sentiments at the end of it, and it's very important to let yourself go. If you don't do it in front of people who don't know you, who know you, then I don't know how will you ever be able to do it in front of anybody else. And that's essentially what we are discussing today. And I really hope, and I just want to put this message across that take this on board, in your day-to-day life. Even if you might just put it, in your life the next 2-3 days and then forget about it. But it's always good to speak to somebody, keep reading on topics like this. There's a lot going on the internet. And I'm sure St. Bede's is doing what it needs to do about about mental health and well-being. But I shouldn't really be talking much more about it because I already have Dr. Kaushal who is speaking after me. And I hand the buck over to Puneet, who can introduce her. But thank you so much for being with me over this presentation, and I really hope I could make some change. Thank you.
It was so good. Okay, so we have a question, Asavi. What is FOMO? What is JOMO? Sorry, the opposite of FOMO.
I have never heard of JOMO. Is it again a thing?
Yes, I think that is.
Have you heard of it?
I think maybe. I'm not too sure about it, but yeah, there was this specific term once.
Okay, but I think we use FOMO more in terms of because it's a fear. That's what the idea is, the anxiety of not able to being a part of.
It's like the joy of missing out. If I'm not, it's somebody. Okay, it's related to joy. Somebody's saying
the joy
of missing out. It's
but again, since we are in a more negative world, as we may say so, we kind of talk about more of the frustrations and the fear and the anxiety of not being able to be a part of somebody else's life and celebration. So hence the word FOMO comes on.
Right. Also, from this, I get one question in my mind. What are some initial signs that we can, mark ourselves on that Are we on that track of going towards FOMO? Are there
Yes,
how many-
actually, and I'll tell you one thing: 95% of us on that track. We already are. And how can you actually, understand whether this is it and whether do you need help now? Is when you're doing nothing but you pick up the phone just to check, that action of refreshing on your Instagram homepage. That is the biggest, the constant action is the biggest way of knowing that somebody is headed towards it. Or, if somebody's just living their life for Instagram, I know somebody here who may just dress up, not to go to a party, but to kind of look like somebody is going to a party and then just put it on social media. So signs when you start behaving and it starts looking to you like this is completely odd. It's very odd. It's not how a normal human being needs to behave, and that's where the intervention should happen. Again, those people are going to be completely averse to listening to you. Will probably not, probably think you're crazy to be thinking like that. But you really have to kind of mellow yourself down and gradually make them understand. And, instead of taunting and pinpointing here and there, just to kind of let them understand it themselves, or maybe try and give them a mirror and let them see when I say give them a mirror, is try and act like them in front of them and see how they behave. If they find that normal, you're on path, so
okay,
that sort of.
And also you talked about the people, who just dress up for the social media. We also have the trend of influencers coming in. So what do you have to say about that? Like, influencers are sort of that way. Some of them, right? Quite literally.
So you see, I like to detach myself from there and say that influencers are doing this as a job. Now, when I say use social media to your advantage, that's what I mean. I mean, do something productive. That what people have done is it's productive. Today, my new Google is Instagram, right? So if I'm traveling to a new country or if I'm going to a new hotel, my first thing is not to look at the Google reviews, is to see the pictures on Instagram in the hashtag column. Now, so if you're using it to that, but you're using it productively, that's fine. That's absolutely okay. That I'm not intervening in anybody's life. I'm not commenting. I am not. I'm minding my business. I'm just doing what I need to do. And that's what influencers are. I mean, they're giving out a piece of information for people like us to know. We see that, we kind of, and they earn their money. They are doing well. As long as it's a partnership of well-balanced work related in social media, that's fine, because that's not going to go anywhere. Right. So you can't just completely shun yourself out from that zone. So just the more positively we accept it, more productively that we accept it is the best way forward here.
Absolutely. I totally agree with what you're saying. Okay. So I think there's a question here. With the gain of popularity of social media, there is an increase in the amount of people who want to be rich and famous in whatever way possible. It has also sucked the joy out of doing hobbies in general. An example of this would especially be the artists who art in now weighed by how well it performs on social media, like what we were talking about. It is leading to a generation which feels that unless one's life isn't as perfect as it is portrayed on social media, it is not good enough. This is detrimental of our mental health, as well as because rather than our lives being viewed as different and unique, we aim to shape our lives as the ones that bloggers or affiliate marketers live online. What is your opinion on it? And how can we tackle that?
I mean, it's literally the same thing that we were discussing, Puneet, at the moment.
Yes.
It's detrimental for our mental health. But again, the whole idea is, how do you tame it? And that's what I'm going back to my first sentence was, social media is here to stay. It is a big monster. It can get into your head and kind of bring you down in all mental sense. But how do you tame your mind? And the mind doesn't control you. You control how it thinks and how it lets you affect. So I mean, there are a lot of people who want to be rich and famous. Are you one of them? And have you succeeded? How long have you been trying for? And have you gone through different routes? Right now, if you're a desperado, like looking to, just do anything, somebody like Rakhi Sawant would do, okay, man, you definitely need help, and I'm ready to help you for. Okay, but if you're actually a social influencer, if you're doing some charity work, if you are, if you have something to sell, and when I did Noor London, and for my Instagram, I had to get ready in my different saris and get clicked, whatever. We had to do this thing, but I don't do this every day. I won't just wear a sari today and sit down, and now take my picture. Wouldn't do that. But if it's for a shoot, if it's something that I'm launching something new, and if it's again something which is business related, that's okay. That's absolutely fine, because you can't, like I said, run away from that. That's there to stay. But we are aiming to shape our lives as what the bloggers are doing. That's why we have webinars like this, and that's where people like counselors kind of come in and say that, look, that's real world. What is happening in their real world is not real equals not real here. So, so it's just how you kind of start thinking and, just kind of mellow yourself down. And that's why we say, just take some time out from social media. You don't have to follow every blogger. You don't have to follow every influencer. You're following a few friends here and there. That's enough. And that's what kind of took me off this pandemic, and most of us, I'm sure, just to be connected at some point.
Definitely, that's so true. And also, you talked about cyberbullying. Now, from this age that we aren't comfortable. The children are not comfortable with their parents talking about cyberbullying, and we do not actually understand that it is the parents who can help us out. We take it on ourselves and we look in for Google answers. कि अगर ऐसा हो गया तो हम क्या करेंगे? It is that way. So how can we build that, sense in ourselves that, if something of that sort happens, we have our parents, and how can parents actually control that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a two-way conversation, and I don't want to blame the children here completely, and I don't want to blame the parents here completely as well. Now it's a very culture. Now I'm born and brought up in India. I have Indian parents, and they were always a little more strict and more sensitive to these things. So at my age, if I was 18, 19, I was cyberbullied, I wouldn't have gone to my parents. I wouldn't have, very honestly, because I would have said, oh, my father would have definitely said, I'm taking you out of the college and you're sitting at home and blah, blah, blah. He would have, I know that. And, and that's where the problem lies. I think a two-way conversation where parents can equally understand and where children can be equally free and have that conversation. And I have seen that here in London. In UK, the culture is completely different. I mean, I live with my in-laws and I've got my husband has 2 more siblings. The conversations they have with their parents, there's no way in hell I would have had it with my parents at that time, So it's also very, we're a little culturally different in that sense, demographically and geographically also different. And, there's nothing wrong. Your parents are your best friends at the end of it, I mean, you could speak to your friend who's your age. What does she know? I mean, how much experience of life does she have? Or how many connects and networks would they have? I mean, what's going to happen? They're going to scold you for 5 minutes, yeah? But at the end of it, they're going to help you because you're their child, right? So, I mean, they'll probably know more people at a good stage than your friends would. So, and even for parents, be more, when I meant educate yourself and be open and move ahead with time, I also meant to be a little more mellow and a little more receptive to these kind of things. Look, they are going to happen, right? People are going to have love marriages. People might start even having live-in relationships. Yes, it's going to happen. Just it's how receptive even parents can be in children's perspective as well, and that's where you kind of meet halfway. Otherwise, children are not going to come 75% and you're only going to put 25%. So always a midpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Asadi, for this.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah, you were saying something? Sorry about that.
No, I said thank you. Thank you. We can always take more questions later.
Definitely. You can always write down. Okay, so I think we have a question. Do you think social media...
Sorry to interfere.
Not a problem.
We can take in the questions later. Can we have Ma'am Taruna first? Because she also has a lot of answers to these questions that are coming.
Right. Okay. So I now request Dr. Kaushal to please take up the session.
Thank you so much, Puneet, for the lovely words of appreciation, and thank you, Astha. I was engrossed in your interaction. I wanted to listen to it more. I really forgot that even I have to speak after you, Astha.
Nothing like that.
I was enjoying the session. So then obviously when I have a few things to say, so it's my great pleasure to be here as a part of this webinar. So I welcome my audience, and today I'm going to touch upon a few very sensitive and significant topics. I would say that we would be talking about, or we would be discussing about our mental health and quality of education, and how both of them are interconnected in a cause and effect relationship. So I'll begin with a simple question: that how did I feel? What was my happiness quotient for today? By happiness quotient, I would mean that how integrated, how well connected you are with your environment, how well connected you are with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues at workplace, and how often do we ask this question to ourselves by the end of the day? And I suppose very rarely, and not. And I think we should do it quite often if we want to maintain our well-being. See, we have many gadgets to measure our physical well-being as well. Like we have glucometer, we have thermometer to measure our body temperature. But very sadly, we don't have any device to measure our emotional well-being. We don't have any device called emotional meter to measure our emotional well-being. So very sadly, mental well-being has been neglected. It has been an underrated subject. And it was only after COVID-19 this subject came out into open, and people became more aware of it, and they thought more over it, and then only they realized that our mental well-being is also very important. And not only not only exclusively, it is also connected with your physical well-being. So as when we were confined to our four walls, जब हम अपने घरों में, last year we were only in our four walls. We were not allowed to move. This year it is still better, but we were not allowed to move out. Then we realized that we are social, as human beings, we are social animals. And we are not meant to be alone. We are not meant to be living alone. We are not meant to live in the mode of isolation. We need somebody's shoulder to laugh on. We need somebody's shoulder to cry on. Otherwise, it can lead to various psychological disorders, which even Astha has spoken about some, like depression, anxiety, loneliness, and it becomes very difficult. See, in a physical disease, it is very, very easy. The physician will give you a medicine, and you will eat it, and you will find the effect. But in psychological disorders, it is not very easy. Whatever the therapist is saying, that is the medicine for you. So you have to maintain your emotional well-being. Otherwise, it will create lot of psychological disorders, and in return, it will also cause many physical disorders. So we need to maintain that emotional well-being. So in that case, it is an old saying that a healthy mind, it only resides in a healthy body. So if we talk about mental health and physical health, they go hand in hand. They are meant to coexist in harmony. They cannot be if you are physically fit, if you are mentally fit, then only you will be physically fit. So, but do you think it is happening these days? I don't think so. Like Astha has talked a lot about social media, mostly the pros and cons. But I think social media, we are more on social media. Earlier, we used to go to our relatives' house. We used to go to our friend's house. Now we are only confined to our walls, and we are only on our mobiles. So, or other social networking, not social network. So it has created an imbalance between the physical health and the mental health. So after this, this has forced us to think on our mental well-being. Now we need to we need to adopt certain significant measures, or significant, we need to adopt certain techniques in our day-to-day lives, which will help us to maintain our well-being, and it will create a balance between the well-being and the physical being. So first of all, I will talk about social distancing. These days, we are using this word quite frequently. And why are we using this word? To explain that we have to be 6 feet apart from each other so that we can prevent the spread of coronavirus. But do you think it should be social distancing? I think it should be physical distancing. Social distancing, you need to be more connected socially. Physically, you should be distant, but socially, you need to be connected to the other people, because as I've already said, that we are social animals, we are human beings, we are social animals. We cannot live a life alone. We need somebody who can give a shoulder to us in the times of our trouble, and even when we have to share our good things. So in this way, social distancing, I would say that social distancing is not the correct word, the appropriate word to be used in this scenario. It should be physical distancing. So be well connected with your loved ones, be well connected with your social support system. If I talk about myself, we are 3 siblings, and for the past 2 or 3 years, we've not been able to meet each other physically, but we have connected ourselves through various social network like WhatsApp or FaceTime and all, and we've been sharing our photographs, we've been sharing our clippings of the performances of our children. Although it gives a smile on our face when we see our children growing up. It was not possible physically, but virtually we could see each other and we could see our children growing up. So I think we should be socially connected, and physically we need to be, because see, coronavirus, it spreads between people who are physically in touch with each other, or physically in contact. So I'm stressing on the word physically connected with each other. So we need to use the word physical distancing instead of social distancing. So I would say that we need to connect to people. We need to connect. These days, we cannot do it in person. Now the things are opening up, but still we are. It has given the ways for the future also. In future also, we can use these things. And next, I would come on self-love. Now, self-love, don't misunderstand, or don't misunderstand this word for narcissism. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be selfish. You have to be self-obsessed. You have to be. You only have to think about your own self. Self-love actually means that you have to give regard to your own well-being. You have to give regard to you have to be happy. Unless you are yourself, you are unhappy, you cannot give happiness to the others. Unless you maintain a good relationship with your own self, you cannot maintain a good relationship with the others. So you need to see, if you are happy from inside, then the environment around you will be happy, and you can make you can share this happiness with everyone. So I would say self-love, pamper yourself, and you begin a beautiful journey of self-love. I would say that believe in yourself and be proud of yourself. For that matter, I would say that even if you are doing simple work, you are doing your household work, you are doing cooking at home, that is also a thing for which you should be proud of. You need to be proud of even small achievements. Don't compare it with the others. You don't set a different standard for a good achievement. You can enjoy those achievements at home, and you can take it as you can be proud of those achievements, and come out of your comfort zone, learn new things, try to learn which you were not able to pursue earlier. try to learn those things. I have many people in my circle, like they wanted to learn classical music when in their childhood, but now they said that as we are growing old, so we will not be able to do it. But now, they did it. They had that time. They had that time that I should think over it and I should pursue this, which I could not do it earlier. And they did it very nicely. Believe me that if you adopt these things in your day-to-day life, it is going to help your mental well-being. Next thing is that you need to follow your passion, follow your hobbies. For hobbies which you were not able to do earlier because of lack of time. You were not able to pursue dancing. You were not able to do creative writing. You were not able to any other hobby you were not able to do. So you can do, this is the right time. Do it. I would say you can go for positive reading. Positive reading, every time it is not necessary that you have to go for intellectual reading. So sometimes you can go for positive light reading. I would suggest, for example, there's a book called Ikagai, and it is a book which tells you about the journey of happiness. So sometimes these kinds of books, they relax you, they make you happy. So go for it. You can be creative. Be creative. Yeah, like you can adopt a philosophy, aesthetic philosophy of Wabi Sabi. Now, what is Wabi Sabi? Like Wabi Sabi, it motivates you to find beauty in imperfection. See, this is a Japanese word and it has come out like if a cup is broken, so the light can go through that crack. So it also has a beauty in imperfection. For example, if you have an old dress and you want to discard it and you want to buy a new one, so you can do one thing. You can paint it with new design. You can add something to it, or you can do some beads work, so that instead of discarding and instead of throwing it and instead of buying a new one, you can show your creativity and you will feel contented about it. You will feel happy about it. For one thing, that you have shown your creativity and you have you are worthy of something. And like long time ago, my brother, he painted a Fido Dido. It is a cartoon, and he painted on one of our old walls of our house. So he was so happy that he was able to do it, and his creativity came out at the same time. That old wall, it looked good, it looked beautiful. So all these things, they help to maintain if you adopt these methods, they help you to boost your mental well-being. And take out some time for yourself. You can start your day with yoga. You can start your day with breathing exercises. You can start your day with aerobics. You can do it at home. You can dance on your favorite number. So these are the things which help you to connect yourself with nature. See, nature is a big healer. All of us, we know that it is a big healer, and like it is the absorber of negativity. So believe me, having a cup of tea early in the morning in your balcony and feeling that fresh air and the warm sunlight, it will definitely, you can try it. You can try it from tomorrow or today, or you can adopt it as your daily routine. I'm sure it is going to help. It will relax you. It will rejuvenate you. It will energize you for the whole day. I myself, I get up in the morning, I enjoy my morning tea in the balcony, and then I put on some music and I keep on doing my routine work. So I don't even I feel relaxed. I don't even feel tired when I'm doing all. So these kinds of things, these kinds of activities, they can add on to your mental well-being. So I would say that adopting these measures, you can be a better person, a better connected person, a well-oriented person, a well-organized person. And this, I can only say, if you do it, if you adopt it in your day-to-day life, this will only happen. You are just listening to me and maybe you must be thinking that ma'am is just saying, and we'll forget about it after this webinar. But I think you should do it. As a counselor, we always suggest everybody that we only act as facilitators. You have to do the things. We can suggest you things. We can listen to your. We can be a good listener. We can listen to your worries, to your whatever tensions, your whatever you want to share with us. But the actual it is your will, your willingness to change and to accept what you are. So next I would take up self-retrospection. As we have shortage of time, there are many things which I would like to share, but maybe later on. But I have taken only few points, and so that you can start with them. Simple points, so that you can start with them. So next, I would say that self-retrospection is very important these days. Now, what do you mean by self-retrospection? Self-retrospection is to analyze your thoughts, analyze your emotions. So why do we do that? Because as Astha said, like, we are more into social media, we are more into social networking, WhatsApp and Instagram, Facebook, and we start comparing ourselves with them. So it is very necessary to analyze your thoughts, analyze your emotions. So in that case, you need to take out some time from your daily routine and you need to analyze your actions. It will make you a better person. So self retrospection is very important for us. We need to do it every day if possible, so that we find it very easy to criticize a person rather than appreciating a person. Just think over it, and as a person, maybe I am also like that in some cases. So we are becoming judgmental. We become judgmental that no, why is she doing that? We need to understand. We need to be empathetic towards the other person. So all this will help you to analyze your thoughts. So as a psychologist, I would say that I would suggest journaling. Journaling is that you record your emotions, you keep a record, write down your emotions, whatever emotions, and then you analyze on them. You sit back and then think about it, that whether I need to change them, whether I need to change some irrational thoughts into rational ones. So it will help you to become a better person. It will help you to be a contented person. It will help you to be a satisfied, because these days, as Astha also said, that we are into social currency. Like, we want so many likes, and we feel happy. Obviously, I'm not a very social networking person. I'm not too much into it. Obviously, I'm in touch, but not too much into it. But still, whenever I post a picture, I post a photograph, I start looking at how many likes I've got. So that is what we are doing these days. So we need to analyze that this is not only the thing we need to do. We need to sometimes we need to go to our old communication methods. We need to go to our friend's house. We need to chat to our we need to talk to our parents. We need to talk to our siblings. So we need to be connected, but in this way also, that is a more appropriate and more productive way of getting connected. So here I would end, and I would say that be well connected, retrospect yourself, pamper yourself, love yourself, then only you will be able to maintain that balance. Not talking about quality education. So I've already talked about emotional or mental well-being. So both of them, I've already said that both of them they are interconnected in a cause and effect relationship. So in this, when the pandemic struck over the globally, so the world had to change, and it had to adapt to the new normal or the new reality. So in this case, when the institutions were closed, there was closure of institutions. So both teachers and students, they had to adjust themselves. They had a tough time. Like teachers, they had to they had to give make an extra effort to add to their teaching style. because they had to go, both teachers and students, they had to go on e-learning. So it was earlier, it was a new thing which they had to adapt to. So now they had to adopt and adapt to the new style of e-learning. Even students now, teachers, they had to simulate their workplace work and workplace environment with their household, because, and they had to struggle through various distractions. Earlier they used to go to the school, they had that environment, they used to go to the classroom, they used to teach the students in the classroom, and it was easy for them, convenient for them. But now they had to change their style. It was a problem for the students also. So students also had a tough time. They were confined to their four walls, and they were not, they missed out their physical or everyday physical regime, or they missed out their light conversations with their peer group. So they had a tough time adjusting to this new environment, and many many psychological disorders also cropped up, like loneliness and substance abuse also in some cases. So we need, but still the quality in this case, but the parents also, they had some role to play, because now when the students were at home, it became imperative, it became important for the students to just see whether their child is self-disciplined, whether she is doing her work sincerely. So it was a teamwork, it was the collaboration of the teachers, the students, and the parents. So parents also in this time, it became like they had to lend a hand so that they could help in this, in the effective grooming of their children. So I would say that if quality of education, or the quality of education depends upon the mental well-being of the child, and mental well-being of the child depends upon the family environment, and the family environment in turn depends upon the communication, the interaction they have at home. So to sum up, in the end, I would say that as individuals, we need to take it as a responsibility, as a parent, as a teacher, as a student, to maintain this balance between the social, the quality of education and your mental well-being. So if this gap is not there, obviously you will have both the things, they will come in harmony, and you will be having a better life. So I hope I was able to put my things in a proper and easy manner so that it could be taken by everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for this. I think there's one such thing that I want to point out here. You talked about self-love, and we practice self-love. Like you said, after a session, we forget about it. So
Yes.
what are the 2-3 activities that we can practice on a daily level, on a daily basis, so that we can inculcate the quality of self-love in our lives?
I just told you that you can follow your passion, follow your hobbies. In that, you're showing self-love, isn't it?
Right.
You are pampering yourself. You are thinking of. Otherwise, what do? We are only engrossed with our family. We don't take any. I told you that take out some time for your own self.
Right.
You can start your day with yoga. Only you can do yoga. You can you can dance on the favorite number. That is, you are pampering yourself. So in this way, you can think about your own. At that time, you will only be thinking about your own self.
Do that.
Leave the other activities aside. Don't think about your household, or don't think about your cooking in the morning. Just sit relaxed, in a relaxed manner. There are so many sites, there are so many meditation sites, there are so many, you can do guided imagery. So this will help you to attain your own self, to love your own self. Yes, I have done this, and you can feel, you will feel that lightness in your body. That will only, it will only happen once you start doing it. So
True that.
this process, doing is more important.
Yeah, just not listening to it, but also impacting it in our lives,
Yeah.
including that in our lives. So true. Also, ma'am, you talked about self-retrospection, analyzing the thoughts. But today's generation, if they sit to analyze, they go to overthinking. And then they'll analyze something that happened like 15 years ago. So how do we deal with that?
For that we are there. They have to come to us, and then we'll tell them that where you have to restrict your
Right.
process.
So
So
true.
this can only be dealt when we are listening to some problem, or because overthinking sometimes it happens with us. See, overthinking, it happens with us also, but then we come back. We come back to a normal. Then it is very normal. But if you keep
Right.
on, you are sitting quietly in one place, that means you have some problem. At that point, you will need a counselor. You will need somebody to talk to, where the counselor can give you a talk therapy. She can
Right.
listen to you. She can think about some solution. Otherwise, overthinking is not a problem. Even we overthink sometimes. But then the main thing is that you have to come back to your normal. If you keep on go deeper inside it, that means there is a problem.
True that. Thank you so much for sharing the information with us. I'm sure it's going to help all of us here. I now request Sister Molly to kindly share the experience and present the vote of thanks today.
I don't know what to say, but it was a very, very wonderful experience. I would say our children talking to us. And then when I say it is wonderful and it was a very special webinar, I mean it. And I'm sure that the parents and the teachers and the students who listen to these three proud BDNs will agree to me, because once upon a time they were sitting in our classes, and today we are sitting and listening to them. And they are telling us what to do, how to balance ourselves, and how to, schedule our life, all these things. It was really wonderful. And thank you, Asta, Taruna, and Puneet. Thank you so much. And I'll be looking forward for many more such webinars.
Anything for the college.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's Asta.
No, thank you, Nuja ma'am. I'm very happy. She actually put everything all together. So.
Tried to.
Oh, you did a great job.
Thank you, lady, for your insights. You all were so good, so clear, so simple, that everything you suggested, said, was understood. Like Sister said, it was so special for us to listen to you. And, I just, your insights, especially on the present times and on the present generation, which is over-informed and more confused. I hope those who have actually heard you, it'll open some windows of positivity. It should, because what all you said is like a reminder, it's like a refresher, which we have forgotten. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, sister, for, I should say, pushing us into this. And we managed it, we did it, and all because of your support. And all these girls, not even once they said, no, we can't do it. It was yes, ma'am, yes. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much, all the ones who attended, listened, and I hope you take back something. Anyone else wishes to share, you can unmute yourself. We still have 5 minutes to go.
Even if you have any questions, just unmute yourself.
Anything to share about your experience? You want to share?
Sorry, the voice was.
Even if you want to share any experience related to this, any audience they would like to share their experience.
I'm sure they can hear you. If there is anybody, any student, especially, if you wish to say something, please do.
Any parents want to give any feedback to this proud obedience?
Yes, of course. Well, I think they're quite satisfied with what all they've heard and said. Yes, I can see Mr. Navlesh there. He is the PTA president. Welcome, sir.
There. Good evening.
Good evening.
Wonderful listening to all of you together on the same platform. And it's thanks to the modern technology that we all are here and sitting different places, and all the obedience all around the world. They are now holding good posts. We as parents have always looked up to the Beats College as a college which has been providing quality education. And today listening to the students who have passed out from there shows that they are really having nickname and doing very well in their respective fields. They are the experts of their field, so I don't have much to ask them because I know they have answer to everything. All I can say is that keep interacting with the students whenever you have, and I hope the college and the administration invites you later sometime when the things open up for physical interactions and other. So thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navlesh. So with that, we call it a day. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for so patiently being with us, logged on, and hopefully listening to what these three young girls had to say. Thank you. Sister, maybe leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Astha, it's still good afternoon for you.
I still have to go to work.
Oh, you have to go to work. You may please leave. I shall talk to you later. Right.
No, that's okay. Just I'm my things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Mr. Navlesh.
I just want to say a quick hi and hello to all the teachers. I saw Gitanjali ma'am's online and Deepthi ma'am's online.
Gitu, switch on your video.
Oh, Deepthi ma'am's right there.
Okay, now it's a free session. Now it's a free session. We can chit chat.
I could cry. I could
Oh my
literally cry.
God, I can't believe this. I always remember you as one of my best former students. Okay, and you expressed your thoughts and your feelings beautifully today, and it's always a pleasure. It was a pleasure listening to you in class, and it was a real pleasure listening to you today. And we'll be in touch now. I'll take a
No,
note on that.
definitely. How are you? You're okay?
I'm good, Asta.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long, and it's just distance makes sometimes, and the time difference makes such a hassle sometimes. But I know, I mean, I keep seeing you on Facebook though, so that's social media keeps you connected.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be connected now, Asta.
But
I'll
definitely,
be in
ma'am.
touch with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for logging in, ma'am, today.
Thanks, girls. It was great. So we'll reconnect later. Bye. Thank you. See you all soon, and we'll do something together once again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Take care. Good night.